Let me open up the
You guys
chat
are
here.
gonna have a good time today too, because we're starting you off, but you're gonna have some fun tips from some of the fastest growing people that are not here yet, and some fun work times. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, Kaylee says our bandwidth is low. We are coming to you for remote from Go Global, the back room. So Kaylee, like, are we delayed or how are we doing?
Your picture is frozen. I'm currently not. Oh, there you guys are. I see you
Oh,
now.
hi.
You're moving.
Here. Were we frozen to everyone else? Donna, we were frozen? Dang it. Okay. Well, good, because we're not going to do much of the talking today. So I'm loving the chat here. A lot of people saying, yes, I'll be at convention next year, loving all the pics, wish you were here. We all wish you were here too, but next year you will be, one step at a time. And that's actually what we're going to change up this call a little bit about. Since we're all here and there are some new executive directors, because you had to be 2 months qualified to be at Go Global. There's a few that are brand new. They're going to share some tips today because we want to speak to all of you that are newer coaches, that are putting in the work, that are figuring out your balance, that have been joining us and staying consistent. Like, we are so incredibly proud of you, and we are just excited for what's the breakthrough to happen on the other side of that. Like, you'll hear from a few stories after this is done, but that's basically our invitation, is for you to study the people that made the decision, because it's as simple as making a decision. Fast or slow, we just want to help you become a great coach, revolve your life around what matters most, and help people win more and yourself. So we'll have some Q&A. So this call is going to be a little bit different. We'll have some shares at the end, some open time for Q&A, and then just some like hands-on work time to kind of get caught up. Because as you're going to start with coaching, you're kind of shoring up all those things. I remember, like, I didn't even know which way was up. We didn't have any systems, by the way, when we got started. Like, I remember being executive director and being like, like, how do I support all these clients? Like, we didn't even have like client profiles back then. But I digress. So first off, as we get started here, good morning. Like, drop in the chat. How's everyone doing? You guys doing good? Doing good? I'd love to hear from a few people before we get started. Like, who's having wins? Mackenzie, I've seen you on fire. I've seen a bunch of people on fire here. Like, go ahead, pop off mute. Like, one or two people, what's been really working for you that you are proud of, or that you've been winning at, or that you've seen breakthrough in?
I'll share.
Go for it, Mackenzie.
Well, I recently got one of my best friends to finally join. She's very shy and scared easily and stuff, and she keeps messaging me all week long saying how proud of herself she is and how excited she's finally joined, and how everybody's already mentioning to her that she's doing well, and how she's pretty much already turned into a totally different person. And it melts my heart just to see her open up so much and do so well and be happy that she made the choice to go on plan and get healthier for herself.
Mackenzie, I love that. And that's because of your consistency and diving in. Well done. Those are the wins that just, like, they never get old. Well done.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's do one more before we get started. Who else has got some wins? Hey, Donna, I'm just going to call on you, Donna, because, like, you have a lot of wins, and I was thinking about having you speak today, but I wanted to keep the caller short. So just share some wins with us, because you're crushing it.
Okay, one of my big wins right now is my husband has a friend who has been watching us for a while and is just kind of, in the distance. And I know a couple of weeks ago, you guys may have seen, I posted a picture. My husband has now been on plan for 2.5 months and has lost 40 pounds. And so this guy was like, oh my God, you're doing great. You're doing great. But he's a really shy guy, and he's extremely shy around me. He's definitely a man's man. He doesn't like talking with the gals very much. And so I tried to reach out to him. Greg said, hey, I think he wants to do it. Reach out to him. So I reached out, and he's just not kind of touching back to me. So yesterday I took the plunge, and I called my husband and I said, hey, you're going to have to coach him. I will coach you to coach him, but you're going to have to do this, because he really wants this, but he's not going to accept it from me. And I know that. He loves you. You guys are buddies. I will make sure that you're both taken care of. And he said yes. So my husband was like, I'll do it. I'm on fire. I'll do it for you. So that was probably my newest win.
Donna, huge win. I love that. Not only like that win for your client, for your husband, but also that is what we need to do here more. We need to focus more on the people's needs and around them. And remember, like, that's actually kind of a premise thing, because we're going to get into a lot of action type stuff. Referrals is one of them. There are so many people, and the people that we're helping get healthy. And if we're not diligent in learning that skill set to mind the people around them and step into those people's worlds, we're missing out on dozens of people just from our current clients that we have right now. So with that being said, Donna, fantastic. Great job. Let's get started into today. So again, today is a focus on you all moving to strong executive director. We're live at Go Global, just got off stage. Dr. A might walk by, or you might see some hand stages walk by. I got some partners with me. We're always practicing. Just like on our health journey, we're working and learning to stay consistent. So that's why we kind of have some hands-on workshop time today. So just a reminder that just be working your list diligently, be sharing boldly, be chasing after your health, make that extra post, make that extra connection, stop by to say hi to that extra person. It all adds up. Everything builds on top of each other in momentum. So I just want to, one, if you're a newer coach, remember that your consistency is paying off and it's all about connections. If you haven't been as consistent so far this month, just start today. That's what Dr. A always talks about in our health. Just it doesn't matter what you do today or tomorrow or yesterday, just start taking more steps and build habits of success. So this is our reminder to you, because we're always still reminding ourselves to stay consistent, and just your next person, you don't know who the next person is that's going to break through and reach out to you because of one thing you do. So let's do more of those action things. Probably the number one thing I would say right now, I'm going to set up Kelly to kind of have a short talk here. Follow-up is the biggest deal. I actually went to does everyone here know who Grant Cardone is? 10X rule, that stuff. I went to a hands-on training with him, and he basically talked about follow-up the entire time. He said the problem with this world is follow-up. It takes 5 to 12 follow-ups to talk with people before they make a decision of putting something of value in their life. So 80% of people won't actually follow up after their first touch. Astronomical. Think about the people that wouldn't say yes or haven't changed their health because of our lack of follow-up. Don't worry about stressing yourself out on that. We're all practicing here, but I just want to bring that current reality to that. And what I would say, especially on follow-up, is a piggyback topic. And I know you guys are learning, you guys are getting more integrated, and we're so glad you're here. You guys are having victories. You guys are seeing great things. Love what you shared, Mackenzie. What I would say is it's really good to start becoming obsessed with getting orders. And I want to explain that real quick before Kelly hits on follow-up. You can't get an order without someone being awakened to their health. So if you become obsessed with getting the order, you're going to be obsessed with the steps that's going to happen to awaken that person. If you're obsessed with orders, you're going to be obsessed with those people staying diligent on their health journey. If you become obsessed with orders, you're going to be investing in growing a business that you will pay attention to and do more of daily. Does that make sense? What I'm talking about here? When you do it as a hobby, maybe a few people might come your way, maybe a few not. But another reason besides income, all the other great things, next step, whatever, there's so many reasons to go executive directors, let alone being here, best, amazing event. I would say it's because when you go executive director, you're going to be more diligent to take the steps forward to create breakthrough in your lives, and you're going to go pro in your coaching. That's just really what it is. We all kind of have that nod for executive. Oh, you're executive director? Yeah, we know you're coaching well. Well done. Not to mention the compensation's way higher. That's a big jump for that. But just so many great things that happen along the way. So my encouragement for you today, besides posting, just really continuing to work on being consistent, getting outside your comfort zone. I just literally spoke from stage, and in case you guys don't know this about me, it scares the heck out of me to talk in front of people. Believe it or not, I know. I said caca from stage. Dr. A always says caca. I said caca from stage. It scares the caca out of me. But I do it anyways. And every time I do it, I'm there's breakthrough that happens for me. There's breakthrough that happens for other people. So it's worth it every step of the time. So my encouragement would be step out of your comfort zone, do some extra action. It's the 15th of the month. We're going to have a few things that if you're shoring up your basics, we'll have a whole list of things that you could be hey, man, I'm doing X, Y, Z right, but I'm not doing that one. I'm going to work on that. And I'm actually going to ask Kaylee a question during that time about that. So that's what we're going to have going on here next, but I'm going to turn it over to Kelly to talk about the number one thing that changes lives, which is follow-up.
Hey, you guys, I can't wait till all of you are here with us. This is so amazing, and you're just on the verge of blowing it up. And so we're just going to talk a little bit today. And there's Terry Miller. Yay, you get all kinds of sightings here when we're here. So anyway, we're going to just talk a little bit about follow-up, and then you guys, that's what you need to do now. As Brad mentioned, it's mid-month. A couple of things we want to make sure you're doing: checking your numbers, staying connected with your map. Are you checking that off, knowing where you're headed? And also also leaning into your mentor. Are you running where you want to be for the end of the month? So double check those things. Remember, don't bring down the goal, raise up the action. So that's what you're going to start with. But follow up is that action now. And there's some things that we can do, just real tangibles that I know have worked for Tim and I. And so what is it? Be consistent. Wow. Does that word come up a lot? So it's consistent in your follow-up. And that means on a regular day, you've got your check-in day. Do you have a follow-up day for people you haven't connected with? But the follow-up is really about, as Brad said, finding those new people that need you. Be obsessed with new orders, with reactivating clients. So who do you follow up with? Everybody. Right? Everybody that is on your list, that you've layered on, that you have on your heart, and then send, just stay connected. The 3, 3, and 3 are working for you, but be really intentional about what you're layering on the people that you know are so close to being ready, or just have one little tweak in their reasoning why. Send them a coaching tip. Send them the value that you bring as a coach. These are just some great ideas, and engage in their social media world. These are, just ways to cultivate the trust, keep building up the trust and building up that relationship. And there's Lee Green passing by, following up to speak up, and invite them to anything you have going. I know that in Florida, we have an event coming up on Saturday. So we're making sure and inviting everybody 1, 2, 3 times, because one follow-up is not going to cut it, as Brad said. They need to know you love and care about them. So love on them a lot, and love on them with intention. So next, what are you looking, what are they looking for? This is about them. So remember, like I said, anybody that's commenting, anybody that has liked stuff, bring them something of value. If you've talked to them before and you know what's going on in their world, let them know that you know that. Love on them. Be integrated in their life more and more, because that's how they're going to know when they're ready, and you're going to know when they're ready that they're going to come looking for you. Okay, so these are just ideas of how to follow up in conversations that you have going, or to start new conversations with people that you haven't had a chance yet to layer what optimal health looks like. And also, don't forget about your clients who are really, really becoming integrated. This is where you're going to find your new coaches. Oh, there's Doug Wood. Yeah, here, there, Doug.
Doug Unplugged. I was wondering what's going on back here. Oh my gosh, awesome. Hey guys, good morning.
Talking about follow-up.
Oh, he says I can still have the mic, so I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, we get all these cameos back here, and this is where we want you guys to be with us too. So these are ideas, you guys. And later on, when you're hearing from the new EDs and you hear some other tangible tips, toss out your own ideas. Everybody's got good ideas for this, okay? But remember, it's about reawakening those intentional integrated clients that are your partners out there waiting to come along, and you just have one more layer that's going to awaken them to what's possible in the coaching end of this trilogy too. Okay, so last piece that I have is that there's some great follow-up trainings. Dan Valentine's follow-up, and then Carol Hips on how to start conversations. They're all available in simple systems. I think in the Brash page too, but you'll be able to find them. If you don't, lean into your mentors, we'll get them to you. But there are 3 different ways of follow-up, and that we have seen broken down. Start a fresh conversation. Come on in, Don. Start a fresh conversation. The hard follow-up, these are just ways to go. These are actual tactics to go into these conversations that you've shared program with. And then asking for referrals. And this is one area that we sometimes forget about, how simple this can be to both awaken potential clients who are friends of your clients, and also to really show what our clients could be as potential coaches if they have people that they're referring. So lean into that, but do it in a personal way. So these are some great tangibles, some great tactics that we're just going to start your training with today. And then a lot of people are going to come on and share some of the things that have worked for them. So I think that sums it up. And we're going to go into now Dawn doing some self-coaching for greatness, or Brad. Okay. All right. Wait, we're following up here.
Yes. Them in the chat. What do they want?
Hey, you guys, coming live from Go Global. We would like to know in the chat, what do you guys want to know more about? So whatever's on your mind right now, whatever you're thinking about, whatever is, you're looking at your map mid-month and you're looking at what you declared at the beginning of this month, and what you are setting in place for towards the end of the month. Like what are the things you want to know about? So pop that in the chat. I have no idea how to look at the chat. Brad will help me.
Support team.
Support team. But you guys, if there's one thing I can share, so we're here, we're at Go Global, we're with the leaders. And one thing that I I would love to share with you guys is that what we're hearing from stage, from the people who are growing, massive cathedrals is what Becca Tinter was talking about yesterday. She was talking about, really making sure that we are learning to lay our bricks well, build walls that build cathedrals, because it's what you do well that builds the solid foundation. That's what we're talking about here in Coffee and Consistency. We're talking about the simple steps, the systems, the structure, what we do day in and day out, not only creates an amazing life for us, but we have this gift to give. So what we're hearing from stage are the same things that we're talking about in Coffee and Consistency. I don't know if you guys realize that. It being here and hearing it in this environment is obviously amazing. So, going to events is, priceless. But I would just encourage you guys to be authentic, show up for you every day, and not forget what you declare. Dr. Anderson is talking a lot about structural dynamics, about structural tension. The first night he gave us all rubber bands. Who's got their rubber bands? Brad, give me a rubber band. So I'm taking it off your wrist. I'm stealing it. I'm kind of a klepto. But you guys, Dr. A is using this image of a rubber band. It's your tension. Define what it is that you want, what this is. When you look up at the sky, when you look up right now, can I do this right now? Can I just you guys, can you all for a second just stop what you're doing and look up at the ceiling or the sky, wherever you're at. Seriously, do this with me. Dr. A did this the very first night. Look up.
How's she doing it?
You're doing it. Oh my gosh, you guys follow directions. You're so awesome. So look up. What is it that you dream of? What is it that you desire? What is it that you declare? Just for a snapshot, what is it you declare you really want to create this month? Look up. Okay, now look down at your computer or your toes, whatever. Can you see what it is that you dream when you're looking down? You can't. So keep your eyes and your heart and your mind focused on what you're creating. And remember that as you create that, the simple steps of how to get there are right here. And then you're going to re-dream, re-goal, and you're going to create that tension. So where you're at right now, what have you declared? Kelly just talked about some amazing tangible tips for following up. And we're going to hear some takeaways, some solid gold from some of the executive directors that are doing the do right now. So that's just what I kind of wanted to share with you guys is stay focused on what you want to create, because what you focus on grows. What you feed grows. What you starve dies. So we've heard a lot this weekend about pushing past fears, not worrying about it. Do what you're going to do scared. Is it Jamil Fraser that just said that? He was like, you know what? I just got used to doing what I was going to do scared. Sorry. It was Brad. I forget who says what. But don't let fear, seriously, you guys, the peanut gallery here, I can't even. Don't let fear stand in your way. Because of course you're going to be afraid if it's going live, if it's reaching out to that, person that might be on your scared list, if it's following up for the 5th or 6th time. Don't let that little voice of fear in your mind of, oh my gosh, I don't want to bother them, or oh my gosh, can I really, or what will they think of me? Do it anyway, because what's the worst thing that could happen? You could change someone's life, right? All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brad.
The man that kicks through fear and
the man that kicks through fear.
Highway to breakthrough.
I love that you guys get my humor. I love the chat here. So you guys, thank you for my band back. I need that. Was this helpful for you guys? Is this helpful? We wanted to speak with you guys at your level. We know what it's like to be investing at this level. Honestly, it's the most exciting thing. It's like clients that are getting into fat burning and waking up for the first time that this is possible. I was really happy with how this setup worked out. So a lot of these questions in here, as I kind of wrap up here, we're going to set up this time and this day to take action. A lot of these things we'll get into, but also if you have these questions, I would say reach out to your support team. Just real quick answers on some of these, because Allison, Michelle, you had questions on what's the best thing to do for follow-up after a health assessment. We're going to definitely go into that next week. Will be health assessment, but the best thing to do is set up your follow-up from the front end. Like, hey, when would you like me to check back with you? Or, oh, hey, I'm going to do this. We always, whenever someone's still thinking about it or not quite ready, or hey, I'm going to start, but not next week, always follow up with some kind of a story that matches what they want. Send a picture. We have millions of them. Follow up with them the next day. You can follow up soft, which is social media touches, liking their stuff, soft touches. direct reach outs. I guess basically the best thing that advice I can give you, and I know this isn't exactly direct, is think about the person in front of you. Step outside yourself. Focus on the person in front of you. What's going to be the best, most direct course of action, back to being obsessed with getting orders, that's going to speak to that person, that's going to help them be awakened to it. So I would say on top of that, be bold. People need this, and your boldness shows them like, you know, basically like what's possible with that. We'll get into more tangibles next week. But that's why it's always good to say, hey, I'll follow up and like reach out to me when you're ready. If like, let's say it's like open-ended, or I'll reach back out to you this Friday. How does that sound? I always touch back with people periodically because I'm your health coach for life, or however words you say, like you start coaching them from day one. So that way you don't do that awkward, like, are you ready to order your food yet? Like that's never fun. So that's a great question on there. So we'll dive into more of that next week. As we kind of turn it over to some of the champs that I want to hear from, these are the basics, my friends. So this is kind of a good, like, you know, pulse check middle of the month, or maybe like a shore up. Maybe you're in action and you're like, I had a few conversations this week, like, oh man, I got to definitely get this shored up. So all of you newer growing coaches, solidifying coaches, making those changes, we see you out there. We see you doing your stuff. Mackenzie, we see you rocking it. We see you doing that. Like, we're so proud of you. Like every single one of you. I'm trying to see who else is on my screen here. Like DJ, we see you rocking it. Like Lene, like we see you taking those action steps. Like we see you guys doing this. So last thing I want to leave you with is just go through here. These are the basics. This is what works. And just take your next step on this. Your health journey. Are you moving forward? Pursuit creates passion. So you'll be passionate about something you pursue. You don't have to be perfect, but just be moving forward. The energy is infectious. Your map and connections list with you. What you see, what you invest in grows. Use it daily and harvest it daily. Health assessments. Just make sure you're ready to rock on that. So this might be an organization time for you. Your schedule. I've had so many people be like, oh man, when do you send your texts? And I'm like, in the 15 minutes of connection time you put into your schedule each day, right? And like, they're like, oh yeah, that thing, I didn't do that. So this is your time to shore up your schedule if you don't have that in place, at your check-in days, all these things. Like, it is like a flywheel. It increases your results and the ease of this, so it doesn't feel like you're doing stuff all the time. So this might be some good work time for that. Daily text messages. If you don't have it saved to your phone, which I'm getting like 1 million text messages right now, right there on the home screen or saved to your screen. Profile, just being branded on social media, like your profile picture. For today, it's almost the middle of the month. Have you checked what you're tracking for, your action? Have you done a pulse check on this? And we'll definitely cover more of this next week. Make a plan to connect with your support team. You guys are the newer growing. Like, if you're not linked up like this with your support team, then you're missing. No, not you, Don. No, Don.
No, I'm in. No, really.
That's the game changer that makes the difference. And then lastly, like we're going to have some time. I would just worry about making massive connections today, massive touches. And even on the note of this, be obsessed with orders on one end, but all the way to like, who am I just planting a seed with? Who is like that one touch going to be the difference? Mackenzie, that person that broke through, what was that one touch you probably did a long time ago that made that seed plant, that awakened that person to say yes to health? So I would just say, like, whatever you need to do today, let's have some action time on that. And I would just say back to like what Don said, as we're kind of like, wow, we actually are doing good on time. This is awesome. Back to what Don said. And I'm not a big, like, personally, like, I'm not a big, like, rah-rah person. Like, I'm not like a big, like, oh, like, and visualize your dreams and it'll just happen. No, anything that you want takes action in life. That's guaranteed. This is what I just did on stage. My son and my two sons are with me. My wife's with me. We're revolving a life around what matters most. That's my why. And I've envisioned this since day one. It's not about me sharing this. I just want you guys to find that sweet spot of what matters for you and then take action, because action is what makes great things happen. It's what makes breakthrough happen. So maybe today is some time for you to figure out what's next for you to bust through things. Kaylee, you're going to speak here. I'm just going to bring you on right now. We had a conversation in Arizona, and there was like some vision, some desires, and then you busted through. So basically, I'm going to set you up, and then Kaylee's going to MC kind of some of the takeaways, and then open up, like, if you guys have questions, like open conversations from new executive directors that made the jump. And actually, Lynette, like, great job for you. Like, you're like new ED last month, you're already at 6,000. It was like 2 days ago. Like, you're on fire. What creates that fire? Anyone can do it. We're all doing the exact same thing. So get some questions ready. So Kaylee's going to facilitate some questions on that. But Kaylee, you and I had a conversation in December. And you've had a solid business. You're obviously awesome, but something clicked for you, and you've gotten consistent, and your business has been ultra consistent and growing, and you've accomplished a lot of those things you talked with me about in that car that day. So you share a little bit, like, what made the difference for you, and what would you share with, like, the coaches here that are like, okay, I'm moving up towards, I'm getting solidified in my coaching, I'm moving towards executive director. What would you speak to them like you would speak to yourself if they were you, on the call this day?
Yeah, that's so good, Brad. You know, like when I was in the car with you a couple months back, I just you said something very simple to me, and it really spoke to me. You said, Kaylee, you're just not dreaming big enough. And that's what hit home for me, because you know where I'm at. I was a teacher last year for the last 8 years, and I made the commitment to my family and to myself that I wanted the opportunity to work from home and to still help people's lives and to help us get out of school debt and all that stuff, you know. Um, and my why was there, but I wasn't really truly focused on my why enough. I don't, you know, and when you said I wasn't dreaming big enough, um, is because I wasn't doing it. You know, we can have these dreams and we can imagine what's possible, but if we're not truly doing it, we're always going to be in that same mindset. And so I came back, and when you said, you know, you're not dreaming big enough, I made that decision. So, you know, I want to give you guys some applicable tips, because I know a lot of you guys have some big whys on your heart, you know, and I want to make this, you know, doable and give you some action tips to move forward. And I just made that decision. When I got back, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be open. Here we go. And I'm going to show up. And so just a few applicable tips, you guys, is one, have you first made the decision to grow? Have you made that decision for yourself and said, rather than having that concept of saying, you know, I hope I can do this, or having some concepts in your mind that maybe you have some concerns about, bring that to your coach. But until then, and you work through those things with your mentor, you're going to be right where you're at. So get real with your mentor, talk about your goals, and start making that decision to move forward. So that was number one for me. And number two, that, you know, I'm just going to piggyback off a lot of these things, but two is that schedule. A lot of that, I was letting it run me. You know, I've always been a teacher, and I showed up 9 to 5, and then I come home to this toddler, and you know, I was just kind of willy-nilly in it. And you just can't do it, guys. Put your CEO hat on and show up. Create that schedule. Put those blocks in your schedule. Put your family in your schedule. You know, put the things that matter in there. But you need to get honed in on that with that schedule, so it's not running you, or you're going to get burnt out. Okay, that was a big one for me. Another one is going back to my mentor. Allison is my mentor, and she is so amazing. But you know what? We just do it together. You know, we're all working and learning together. And I shared with her my dreams, and I made the decision to move forward. And I was touching base with her every day. It's not every week, guys. And it's not like you need to be on the phone with them an hour every other day, but it is like being consistent and touching base with them every few days and kind of sharing where you're at, what are the next steps, because they're going to guide you. You don't need to feel overwhelmed, because you're doing this together, okay? They've got your back. She certainly has mine, and I know your mentors have yours too, okay? So get in touch with them. It's mid-month, you know, at this point, it's the 14th, it's mid-month. So hopefully between today and tomorrow, you're getting your mid-month map into them, kind of sharing where you're at, having touching base with, you know, what's next. Another thing is copying consistency, where we're at right now. My question for you is your camera off, and are you doing the dishes, and are you kind of somewhat present? If so, I would really encourage you to get dialed in, turn your camera on, take some mad notes, and just be real and be open to what we're sharing here. You know, I'm not sharing this just because it worked for me, but I'm sharing this because it's worked for Brad. You know, it's worked for Dawn. It's worked for Allison. So, you know, just be present, guys. And the last piece I wanted to share with you is, I think, you know, those are the main ones that I have for you guys. The other thing is be okay with being uncomfortable. If you consistently do what feels comfortable, you're not going to grow. You're going to stay right where you're at. So I hope that's okay for me to say, because I've been uncomfortable so many times. Right now, I'm super uncomfortable, and I'm probably super awkward. And you know what? I'm just going to be me. And this is a moment for me to grow. And I'm excited about that too. You know, I want to be pushed. I want to be encouraged, and I want to move forward. And it's going to get me closer to that bigger picture of where we all want to go. And the last thing I wanted to share with you guys, and it kind of piggybacks off what Brad was sharing, but I read this today and it says, opportunities don't happen, you create them. It's just not going to come to you guys. Those consistent actions of showing up for yourself and for your family daily, that's what creates those opportunities. Okay. So that's what I just wanted to leave it with. What do you want to go out and create? Because you guys can certainly do this. And that's really what I have. And we have some other amazing EDs that are going to share some amazing stuff. You guys, they're on fire. They just reached ED. They're doing the do. They know what's up. And so I wanted to bring on Julie, who is another ED, amazing girl. So anyways, Julie, could you pop off mute? And I know that you have some great tips that you want to share for the next few minutes.
Sure. Thank you, Kaylee. I seriously just loved listening to you. I was writing things down, and very awesome. You're super awesome. You're not super uncomfortable. So anyway, just, when I was asked to kind of share, it's not really any different than what anyone else is doing, but I definitely started putting my structure together a little bit more and just really like following that plan and enjoying the fact that there is a structure instead of like resisting the fact that there was a structure. I actually started enjoying that there was a structure, and it was like, that to me was a really, really big deal because I kept like pushing against it. And then as soon as I started actually enjoying the process, things really started changing. And it became so much more fun. So that's even like the month before when I did not hit ED, even though I was going for ED, I had so much fun in just doing the action steps that, obviously I cared, but I was just so excited to be having fun. So that was a big, big game changer for me, is just really loving the structure instead of trying to push against it. The other thing is I have just been doing what my support team tells me to do and really just listening to them. And even in the detail things, like how to post a little bit differently on social media or something I could say a little bit different, just the detail things and just paying attention to those and just leaning into my support team for that because they see things from a different eyes than I do. And I just kind of listening to them a little bit more in that regard has been a big one. Checking my business every month has been actually a really good one too, because I wasn't in the habit of doing that initially. And I do check my business daily. And obviously some days it doesn't change, but I just go in there and I look at it and it keeps me accountable to what I'm doing, part of the structure. So I have been checking my business every single day and, just looking to see what's there and just really enjoying my client support and really trying to focus on talking to my clients the way that they want, what they need, not so much what I think they need, really what they need. So, and really getting that set up, I had to change my client support day, which was a big game changer for me because the day that I was choosing just wasn't really working. So I had to change my client support day and just being open to that. And that's been a really big helpful, which came from my support team who told me that maybe I should be doing that. So just basically listening to what they had to say and going with it and just running with the program. I loved the structure of 5-in-1, so loving the structure of coaching has really been helpful.
That's awesome.
That's all I've got.
I think that's so awesome. I love that you just compared it to the 5-in-1, right? Because I think that, with the 5-in-1 and getting into fat burn those first 4 days, people think we're kind of crazy. They're like, what are you doing? Like, I don't like this program. First 4 days, who would, right? You feel horrible. But then once you get into fat burning, you start feeling good. People, like this structure is pretty simple. I can do this. And then the magic starts to happen. And that's really what our being a coach is all about too, is just trusting the structure and knowing when you follow the structure, stuff's going to happen. So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And then also we have Tanya, who is also an ED here. And so she's going to pop off, share a couple of her little nuggets that she has as well. So Tanya, are you there?
Yeah, I can't really breathe though. I'm nervous.
Girl, don't even worry. We're all in this together. You're amazing. You're at where you're at because you're doing some really amazing stuff. So, you know, just think about a couple of those nuggets that have been total wins for you and changing. And
Okay.
we're all here to grow together. So it's all good.
Okay. Well, one is doing things that you're scared of. Like right now, my heart feels like it's going to jump out of my chest. And I can't breathe, but you just do it because it's growth.
Totally.
Like everyone always says, like really getting on Saturday morning trainings. At first, when I first started, I was like, what the heck? I have to wake up early and go online. Why just the replay? Blah, blah, blah. But being like, as you guys always say, like being live and listening in at the same time as everyone else is so just gives you like warm fuzzy feelings, and it's fun, and there's always hearing the same things over and over is so good because it keeps it fresh and relevant on your mind, even if it might not be something that really pertains to you, or you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then really just like what everyone always says too, just be yourself, post, do the 3 and 3 and the 777. I've always been a poster, so that's not a hard thing for me to post on social media, but you know, post about yourself and what your own journey is. I know like on Tuesdays I always post a transformation photo of myself from before and of today, and that always that's like my Monday, and I always get so many messages, and it just then people continue commenting on it, and it keeps showing up in their feed. So just, you know, don't be afraid to share about yourself, because no one's going to look at it and be like, oh, why would she do that? Why would she get healthy and change herself? So yeah, just keep being yourself and sharing your journey, because your journey is like the biggest thing that people are gonna see and remember, and you'll get the most feedback and likes and action on those photos. And the schedule thing, that was a huge thing for me. That was a game changer when Ashley brought that up one week. Making a schedule and actually carving out the time that you call people, or you have a check-in day, or time that you're not available, and it just really freed up my time, because in the beginning it feels like it's really overwhelming and it feels like a lot of work, but once you get in the rhythm of it, it's really not. And yeah, and I don't know.
No, I think those are really great, Tanya. Those are some really great nuggets. And, you know, especially with the schedule, like you said, it wasn't necessarily a bunch more time. It was just getting dialed in with your schedule and being intentional with your time. And within that schedule, you, of course, have your 3, 3, and 3, what we all do daily, right? And what is so cool about that is I'm not going to lie, I've totally crept on your page, and I've seen your transformation photo, and it's amazing. And you know what? That's kind of stuff does reach people. And just by being you and having a good variety of, you know, your personal life, you know, people know when you're scrolling through your page, they know you're a health coach, right? And I think that's important too, that there's that fine balance. So I think that's really great.
And the profile picture, the before and after, that was a game changer too. That really, then I have people that I'm not friends with that friended me and messaged me and are like, hey, I saw your profile picture. And
people are so visual. Yeah. I think that's awesome.
Always have visuals of yourself. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, thank you. Those are really great tips. And I think there's some good stuff in there, but you know, just keeping it fun. Be engaging on Facebook, you know, I think that's so important. And then the last person I wanted to pop on, so thank you, Tanya. And the last person I wanted to pop on and share for a couple minutes is Lynette. And then from here, you guys, after Lynette shares, we're going to just pop into hopefully 20 minutes or so of some like a Power 20. And that's going to be a great time for all of us to kind of come together. If you guys have questions, pop them in the thread here. you know, and any of these girls can share if you have any questions. But the last person is Lynette, and I know she's got some gems, another ED killing it. So Lynette, could you pop on?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for letting me share. I tend to be the opposite when I get nervous. I talk 90 miles a minute, so be prepared because this is going to, be fast. So my best way to give you my nuggets of wisdom is to share a little bit of my story. So I started November 3rd. When my sister signed me up, I had 100 pounds to lose. I've lost 65. Right before Christmas, I bought my coaching kit. And in January, I had big goals. I wanted to add 5 clients because I wanted my food to be paid for. So that was all I had in front of me. I run my own company. It's a family business, and income was just not on my radar at all. So in February, I increased that goal, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to add 2 clients because I got to thinking about it, and I thought, you know, if one person falls off the program, then I kind of am stuck with 4, and my food's not paid for. So if I get 2 more, that gives me a cushion. It gives me a little bit of a safety net. So that was my big goal in February. Nothing I did in February worked. I was amazed. The last day of February, I hit manager. And I couldn't believe it when that last order went in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm manager. I reached all my goals. This is great. You know, I had my 7 people, but I talked to so many people and nothing seemed to work. But income, still not on my radar. And then March 1st came around and a friend called and said, I've got 2 people that want to sign up. And so she referred 2 people to me. She wasn't even on the program yet. So they were signed up, and then she signed up, and then people signed up, and people started calling me. And pretty soon, all these people I spoke to in February were listening, and it was the craziest thing ever. I hit executive director on March 19th, and the importance of that date is that is one day before the 3-month anniversary of me buying my coaching kit. So this can happen, and it can happen quickly. So one day, let's see, I added 13 new clients in March. I wrote all this down because I have to have notes or I just babble. And all of a sudden, guess what's on my radar? Income. Oh my goodness. Dan keeps saying in my map calls, he's like, income. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. But now I care. I hit executive director this month on the 13th, which is 6 days earlier. I am obsessed with Optavia Connect. I keep it open almost all the time, even though it boots me off continually. And I'm constantly watching to see when I think I'm going to hit executive director and trying to bounce up my ranks. Let's see, I had a goal to add 5 new clients in April, and I've already added 6. So I've already exceeded that goal. So what has worked for me? I focus on 4 things. This is kind of funny, it's all repetitive, but it's being intentional, being consistent, Facebook, and client support. So being intentional and consistent. I work those words into my vocabulary whenever I can now. I set my goals and I'm intentional about blowing past them. I intentionally and consistently use my resources, intentionally and consistently watch these calls. If I can't watch the calls, I watch the recordings. If I intentionally and consistently use my map, I intentionally and consistently get with my coaching team and every month, twice a month, and we review my map. In those calls, Dan is really big on Facebook, and he'll go to my Facebook page and he'll bring it up and he'll say, you know, Lynette, you're not doing this, or you're not intentionally or consistently doing this. And so it's great that I have that check and balance. Use that resource. Every day, I consistently and intentionally post a recipe on my page. And now my friends are coming to my page looking for that recipe. Even some of them that are clients are sharing those recipes. So I'm assuming they're going to be clients pretty soon. I love it when I get comments from them like, this food looks amazing, tell me about the program, or I tried this recipe, tell me more. My personal favorite is I tried the recipe and my husband and the kids actually love this, so I think I'm ready to do this. Most of my clients have been from Facebook connections. I might see them around town, but they will always contact me on Facebook. They will never say anything to me face to face. It's always in a private message that they contact me. I get a lot of referrals from my clients. That is key. I take care of my team. I try really hard to be there for my clients constantly. And I go a step above. So what I do is I believe in, sorry, I was babbling and I lost my spot in my notes. So my number one job as a coach is to consistently and intentionally support the clients I have. So I always keep in front of me that my success, my rank, and my income is all because of the clients I have, and I intentionally give back to them. So I do some of these things. Every month, Brad tells me I can keep babbling. That's awesome. Every month, I either run a contest or offer a free product. So the free products are always extras and not fuelings, because I want them to be things that are going to build my FLV and get them to buy other things that they haven't tried. The infusers are my favorite because comparatively, they're lower in price. My clients are not that are not local get one mailed to them, because that's intentional. It shows that I actually went to the post office and I sent them something. When I saw the note from Denise that the dining out guide went to $1.50, I immediately went out and bought a bunch of them. And I printed a postcard and I wrote "Be intentional" on the postcard, and I sent one of those dining out guides to all of my clients. And like, for example, one of my clients is my neighbor. I pass her house daily to get to my house. Our kids are in everything together. I see her constantly. I still mailed hers. One of my clients, her office is next door to the post office, literally in the same strip mall. And I went in and mailed her book, and then I went and talked to her. So it just, them going to the mailbox and getting that little dining out guide that I actually took the time to address an envelope, put a postcard in there and mail it to them, shows so much intention on my part that I'm intentional about their growth. So, so I love that. Someone just asked who is speaking. My name is Lynette. Let's see, next week, I'm hosting a Lean and Green party for my team as a celebration to them for helping me get to executive director. So they're going to come to my house and we're going to make Lean and Greens and just talk about that. Some of the other things I'm doing right now, and this is kind of fun, I think I might be ready to share this with more people, but I'm putting together little recipe backs where I take 3 recipes and I put together a shopping list, and in one document they can print it and it prints the shopping list and 3 recipes, so they don't have to think about that at all. They can just print it, go to the store, make those items, and they have 12 Lean and Greens for the week that they can share, freeze, or eat on their own. Did I mention that I'm obsessed with Optavia Connect, that and those stupid little stars that pop out of that engaged part? I love that. Another things that I've intentionally done, instead of sending my husband to the store, I go to the store so I can see as many people as I can. If someone contacts me about Optavia and then the conversation stops, as it will happen, I make sure that about a week later, I contact them privately on a private message about something completely different. For example, one of my friends is a real estate agent, contacted me about Optavia, and then that conversation stopped. So this week I sent her a message and said, hey, I saw you have this house for sale in my neighborhood. Tell me a little bit about it, you know? And so we're talking about other things that have nothing to do with Optavia, just to kind of build the relationship. So a couple things about some things that people have mentioned is confronting their fear. Oh my gosh. Confronting your fear is crazy. So when I go into an assessment, I try to remember one thing and tell myself one thing, that this assessment truly is not about me. This is about me helping them. And that kind of takes that fear away from me, because the first thing I tell people is I don't sell anything. I don't inventory anything. I don't sell anything. I want to be your health coach. And that's different. I shouldn't say I don't sell anything. I sell myself as a health coach. I don't sell products. And that puts everybody at ease, because right away they're like, okay, great. She's not going to try to get me to buy anything. So that's kind of takes it away from me. I posted this in comments earlier because this struck me when someone else said it. There's a quote, don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. So that's kind of where I will end. And that's my babbling from my notes. And I hope that you guys have a great month, and executive director could be there for you guys too.
That was like the best babbling ever, Lynette. Thank you so much. I was kind of just looking at all the videos and everyone's like writing these mad notes. So, thank you so much. And like you said, taking good, not just like for your potential clients that are definitely coming your way, but also your current clients, taking good care of them, because they're not going to go anywhere as long as we're taking good care of them. There's going to be those few people every now and then that piece out on you, but then at least you know it's not on you, right? You've done everything to just treat them like gold. And I think that's so perfect, and it's so true. So
yeah, and can I add one more quick thing? Because here's something else I did that has really made a difference. I had a couple team members that I was afraid were going to fall off this month, and a couple of them went on spring break and went on vacations. And when they came back, I offered to my whole team that they could start up the daily client messages again. And I started 5 people over on those daily client messages, and they're doing the program again. So instead of going away, they're back on the program. So there's another tidbit that's super easy, doesn't cost you anything, and you're doing the messages anyway.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Every single one of you ladies just brought some great stuff. And you know what? At this point, guys, we have about 15 minutes. And so right now, if you have any specific questions that you would like any of the girls to, respond to, please feel free to write those down. If not, we're just going to use this time to really kind of get dialed in on what you want to do for the rest of the month. Maybe it's getting dialed in on, thinking about some posts that you want to get. This is your time. Do some posts. Get dialed in on your planner, do whatever you see value in right now. Maybe it's friending some people right now, but use this time And if you want to pop off mute, you can do that, whatever works best. But we're just here for you guys for the next few, and then we'll end things for the day. So thank you, everybody. Lynette, there's a question from somebody who wants to know, for your ED business and growing, obviously, how many hours are you putting in a week?
Oh, that's a tough one because I do have a full-time job. And I've tried to add it up before because I constantly keep my Facebook open in front of me. So I'm constantly messaging my clients, but I'm going to guess probably about 8 to 10 with the number of assessments that I'm doing too. So it sounds like a lot, but really for the way my team is growing, it really doesn't feel like I spend a lot of time doing this. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I really probably need to spend a lot more time doing this.
What's really cool though is you saying that you work a full-time business. When I became ED, I was a full-time teacher too. And that's what's really cool. I think people are worried that they have to put in a gajillion hours. It's just intentional hours, right? You can work your full-time business and do this and make a very lucrative income.
Right. And I do have a little flexibility because I am it's our company. So obviously nobody's watching me and saying, get off Facebook. So that's kind of nice. But the other piece is I have a high responsibility job too. Like I do everything for the company. So it's not like I just, bag groceries, and I'm not saying anything bad about people that bag groceries because we need them in our lives, but
yeah,
but there's responsibility at that level too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then for the other girls that, people are interested, what you other girls do time-wise per week. For me, it's, I'm no longer teaching, so it's my full-time business. For me, I probably put around 30 hours a week. I don't know. What about Tanya and Julie? I don't know if they're still on.
I was trying to add it up one day, and I really don't know because it doesn't really feel like work because I'm already posting stuff anyways, and I'm already always talking to people. So, I don't know. Someone said 10 hours one time a week, and maybe that's right. I don't know.
I would say for me, it's probably 10 to 12 hours a week. I do a lot of things in the evening. So I have I send all of my daily text messages I send out in the morning, which doesn't take very long. And then I set a time in the evening for me to be working. I'm not really counting sending random Facebook posts, not that they're random, but my actual time. I usually, I do set up in the evening, but I'd say about 10 to 12 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I work a full-time job too.
Okay. Yeah, and like you girls said, it doesn't really feel like work, does it? So it's kind of it can be kind of vague sometimes. But Lynette says, you mentioned you go to the store now to reach people. What are you saying to people? How do you approach them?
Okay, let me qualify. When I go to the store, it's really to see people that probably already know who I am because I'm very involved in the community. So I don't just reach out to people blindly. So it wouldn't be a stranger I reach out to unless it came up in conversation. I talk to people in the grocery line all the time. So I would probably start a conversation with someone and based on something that they're buying, maybe it's a certain product that you can use on Optavia, and ask them how they would use the product, like zucchini noodles, or if you see cauliflower rice in there or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of my suggestion, but you got to ease into it because you don't want to be like, hey, you look like you could use this program.
Right. We don't want to be awkward. We just want to keep things real.
That's right.
Okay, we've got another question. Suggestions for referrals. I have asked during check-in calls. So do you guys have any, how do you guys bring up referrals with your clients?
I just tell them all the time. I mean, they know that they get the $25 referral that I give them if the person buys a starter kit. So they're always keeping that in front of them. And then they know also that if they sign up to coach and they referred someone to me and I've given them the $25 referral fee, that I will move that person to their team if they're all in agreement when it starts. So there's no reason for them not to. I don't want people to not refer to me because they're thinking I might want to coach one day and I might want this client for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. Yeah. I offer the $25 referral bonuses to all clients who do referrals as well.
And when I'm having conversations with people, with my clients doing like weekly check-ins, I just nonchalantly talk to them like, who's noticing, what friends or family members are asking you about this? I mean, people are noticing, whether it be like the food you're eating or the change in type of lean and greens you're having. And obviously, your physical change or your mental change, but people are going to be noticing. And so I just let them know, right out of the gates, people are going to be noticing. I will obviously coach your friends and family at a high level. I'm happy to do that. There might come a point too where you might want to do this together with me. We could do it together because they're your person, they trust you. And so it's a matter of fact situation for me. And when that time comes, they'll create like a 3-way thread and just saying, hey, this is my friend and health coach, Kaylee. I knew you wanted some more information. And then just things move from there. And then when they are ready to sign up, it's kind of like, I'll coach them at a high level, or we can do it together. You can start paying for your fuelings. So yes.
Exactly what she said.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple more minutes. Does anybody have any other additional questions for us? I think we're good here.
I'm watching the chat. I'm not seeing any.
Okay.
What is a good way to get more creative with posts that people will respond to more? That's from Mackenzie.
I am a big time creeper. I don't typically friend other coaches because I want to see like my potential clients in my feed, but I do creep on a lot of people who inspire me, right? We all have different coaches that inspire us within Optavia, and feel free to go on their page, you guys. Like if it's public on their page, you can totally steal that. I mean, you realize that, right? Of course, if it's like Transformers or a private page, we wouldn't copy and paste that as anything without permission. But if it's on their page and you're noticing it has a lot of likes, it inspires you and it speaks to your heart, totally post that. I mean, use of course your own wording. But feel free to use that type of stuff. That's where I find a lot of my my posts. And also things that just speak to me. If it doesn't speak to you, you're probably not going to get very many likes or comments. People can read through that. Like, just be you.
That's the biggest one that I was going to say is I stalk a lot of coaches as well, and I look to see what other people are doing, and I save a lot of posts from other coaches for me to use and maybe change some of the wording a little bit. But I have noticed that when I feel it, just the way you just said, like when I feel something and when I feel a post, sometimes those are usually the ones that get the most responses. And I still struggle in this area as well, so I'm learning this really still, but just being who I am, being proud of that, like what is my life, and not feeling like my life is less than anyone else's because I have a boring life. Well, no, it's not really that. This is, what are you doing in your life? What are you doing? And be really like genuine about that and authentic about that. What's going on with your family? What are you doing in your life? And just post about that as real as you can.
Absolutely. Great questions, you guys.
Someone else.
Catherine asked about coaches under you. The hard part about having coaches under me and scheduling with them and helping them with their assessments is that right now I have a lot of people booking assessments with me, and they're trying to book assessments too. So what I do is when, one of my coaches calls and says, I want, will you go on an assessment with me? I give them 3 times and I block those 3 time, then I can release the other 2. So that's kind of how I handle that, just so we don't make sure that we're double booking.
That's a good one.
You can also lead into your support team for that too. Like if you
absolutely
don't have an available time that somebody can get together, maybe one of your support team can do it. Bianca said, sometimes I put the time and nothing happens and I get sad. I did make ED in March, but I want to grow more. I can definitely speak to that, Bianca, because I've struggled. I don't want to use the word struggled. That's something that I've encountered too, is sometimes I feel like things aren't moving fast enough. But I think just realizing that don't get sad. You can, feel what you need to feel, but it will work out. Just because it's not working out in that moment doesn't mean that it's not working out in the grand scheme of your business, because that's one thing that I have kind of worked through as well and that's when you say enjoying the process, that's part of it, is don't get defeated when you don't think people are seeing what you're doing. They totally are. Like, I had a client sign up. She never commented on anything that I put on Facebook, nothing. And then one day, boom. And she said, I keep seeing all these transformation pictures that you post. She never once ever commented on one, never once even liked it. So people are seeing what you're doing. So just have faith that you are doing the best that you possibly can, and it will reach who it's supposed to reach in the time that it's supposed to happen. Just stay consistent and don't let yourself get down if you're not seeing results right away. They will come as long as you keep going.
I agree completely. I thought February was over for me, and then March hit, and everybody I talked to in February all of a sudden wanted to sign up in March, and that's how I got to executive director. You never know, and Dan says this all the time too, you never know who's looking at the things you post on your page and contacting you a year later. So I agree completely with that.
Yeah, that happens time and time again. Just like that slide that Brad showed at the very beginning, you guys, like what you're doing a month ago or even this month, you might not see it this month. It might be in a couple months from now. Know that those people aren't disappearing. It's funny how people come out of the woodworks when you least expect it. And so they're still following you on Facebook. They still keep drizzling on them, every month or every few weeks, and just being in their world and keeping it positive and showing that support. Those people will come. So know that when you're just staying consistent and doing the do, it'll come. It's not always right in that month, right? It takes time. Consistency over time creates that fruit. So you guys, awesome questions. It is 10:01, so I want to honor the time that we have here today. If you have any remaining questions, just write them down. I mean, your mentor can definitely help you with wherever you're at, and whatever that question is, you're probably not the only person who has that question. So super valid points here, you guys, and hopefully you saw some value in this today. Thanks again, girls, for popping on and sharing your goodies, and congrats.
Thank you.
Yes, and we'll see everybody next Saturday morning. So I'll see you guys all later.
All right, take care, everyone.
Thank
Have
you.
a good week.
You too.